Oh my gosh, you've arrived. Guys, they've arrived. They've arrived. They've arrived. You've arrived. We have been waiting for this moment, okay? I have a message for you. I have a message for you. Ready? Something that you have created, animated into form, breathed life into, has now taken on a life of its own. This isn't just metaphysical concepts. This is law. This is energetic law. It's the laws of this universe. Now, when you create something with intention, emotion, a level of devotion, and sustained focus, it now becomes quantumly entangled. That was the message I've been picking up on in your field. Whatever you've created has become entangled with its creator. Now, you are source playing with itself through infinite, countless life forms. But imagine this universe in which you've created for yourself, and you're now playing in through this dimensionally limited avatar that you're projecting your consciousness into that allows you to experience life in this terrestrial plane. Well, you're now actually creating inside of this third dimension, right? I'm seeing this as a vessel of possibility, and the things on which you're touching, I'm hearing also focusing on this sustained focus. I'm seeing you have the King Midas touch. Anything that you touch is literally turning into gold because you're becoming a conduit where source and infinite potential is flowing through you and literally bleeding into all that you do. You know, I'm seeing somebody kind of unlock different potential timelines for themselves through the things that they choose to create, the decisions that they make on a daily basis. You're all creators, okay? You are a creator. That is your message. Some of you are creating content, some of you are creating art. You could be a musician, you may be a painter, or just the decisions that you make again on a day-to-day basis. But this is no longer just an idea. It's no longer even just a project. It's literally an extension of your consciousness that is crossing the threshold into form. This is the moment where something is in your mind and then it becomes a part of reality where you can hold it in your hand. And the message I was receiving, I don't know if you guys know this, so you know when you were born into this system, you have a very specific birth chart, okay? And it's this overlay that happens in this matrix and also the architecture of your soul, okay, and the energetic signature of this. And what I was also seeing, and this is also known in astrology, that things that are created, like businesses or movies or things that are going to debut, they also take on their own birth chart and energetic signature. Even countries that were discovered, you know, the United States, for example, that is, I believe it's a Sagittarius rising, if I'm correct. It might be something like that, right? I know it's got a big Cancer placement in there as well, but anyway, countries also take on their own kind of archetypes, and they also begin to send ripples through this system of matrix. And I'm seeing this as something that you've designed, and the analogy I was getting was, okay, you've birthed this baby. It was like a concept, it was an idea, it was an enterprise, maybe a business, into the world. And it's like a parent that raises a child, and then the bird begins to, what's the saying, fly the nest for the first time. And then, you know, you have to trust that it's going to be able to chart its own course and have the impact that it needs to. It will continue to send ripples through space and time. And then, you know, people and opportunities will begin to kind of intersect with this thing. It's like a parent that sees their child off to university or college. You know, that's the vibe that I was getting. It's like, you know, I brought this thing so far, and now it's like, as a creator, we must not attach to our creations, right? We just kind of release them into the world. And our state of being should not be dependent upon, especially our emotional state of being should not be dependent upon what happens with this thing, right? We don't attach to our creations. So what I was seeing with quantum entanglement, if you guys don't know what it is, it's like two particles, right, that actually remain connected to each other across space and time, and they change, and a change in one instantaneously affects the other. And the message that I got from this is that you've created something from this very high vibrational loving space just because it puts you in the essence of play. And what I was seeing was the benefactor card, where it's like paradoxically something that seems unrelated to what it is that you had created in the past, even if it's a decision that you made in the past from this good-hearted, kind nature, is now coming back to you and returning tenfold. You might want to watch the reading. This is definitely giving me the shoemaker vibes, which I think I said an overnight miracle is coming your way. So that's the message that I'm getting. I'll link that in the description box down below and also put it at the end of this video, because that's definitely being activated, and it was a December reading. So if you're seeing this in December, big clarification for you. But yeah, this is when one change instantaneously affects another. So something that you've done in the past is now coming back around to you. They're also showing me the dolphin card and the tea leaf message, which is a financial reward coming from something that you did in the past. And I'm seeing finances as a form of abundance and energy in this realm, that's being returned back to you because of the devotion and energy and commitment that you had to creating this thing. And this is collapsing through multiple forms of abundance, not just material success, but it could come through opportunities or networks that are also coming away. But what I was seeing was when you breathe attention into you, you begin to animate, right? What you consistently feel into, you give this coherence with. And this is an illusionary separation, right? So even the mother that births the child that then goes off to college, right? The mother and father, that child is also composed up of the cells from its ancestors, right? It's in a descendant of that. And that's what I'm seeing. It's like it's something that's descended into form because you've been able to draw it from the quantum and collapse it through space and time. Okay, but what you believe long enough, you actually bring into orbit. And you didn't make this thing happen, you actually imprinted it into this system. And I'm seeing it be an activator as well. So it activates different emotions or responses. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but your emotional frequency at the time of its creation becomes its baseline resonance, right? It becomes the wavelength or the dominant vibration of which it will take on. So even a child that's actually brought in from conception, depending on the union of the parents and the vibrational state and resonance of that, will, for example, if it's two separate organisms of consciousness who actually reunify in the physical in the system, and they've been able to clear up a lot of dense debris in the body and belief systems, and they remember themselves as creators in this realm, then it's a projection of a alchemical marriage, which is really two beings of wholeness who have come back into this interface of spirit meeting matter, that then see that reflected in the external. That union actually creates the birth of a cell, right? And so that being ends up being a very highly conscious being, often like an old soul brought forth, very connected with simultaneous lives. Again, a very highly advanced being that is then birthed into this planet. That's like a whole nother story, right? Anyway, what I was seeing was once something reaches a certain energetic density of some kind, it begins to kind of self-organize, which is the moment it stops needing constant micromanagement from you. And that's what I'm seeing. Again, it's like a child that's no longer micromanaged. Again, it takes on a life of its own. It's able to generate its own stream of income. It's able to generate its own revenue. I'm just seeing something kind of take off for you that you had created. It's like it begins to take off, and it's like, oh, I'm so proud. And maybe it's like, I don't know, a video that you put out there, maybe it's a message that you put out there, maybe it's a painting, right? And I'm just seeing something go on to auction. I have low battery right now, so I'm gonna try and get this whole message through, but it has its own rhythm, right? It begins to have its own timing and its own interactions with the world, right? That's what I'm seeing. It becomes like an interface, and it has its own feedback loops, just like a child. You know, you provided the genetic code, you kind of taught it how to move, you gave it its values, its tone, maybe its intention or mission through the world, and now it meets the world and it learns through experience, right? So it has its own birth chart, right? That's what I'm seeing for it, right? Quantum entanglement. This is, whatever the case, separation is a man-made invention. Again, I'm seeing this as an illusion of separation. The abundance that this thing cultivates streamlines into abundance, maybe in your personal life, if this is something that you've done in your professional life. That's just what I'm seeing. It's just they're more interlinked than you think, and it's because the moment of a conception, which was the moment that you had that idea, right, that creative spark, that gestation period, which was the building, it was the refining, it was the doubting but still committing to it process that you went through, the moment of its birth, which was when you actually released it to the world. Maybe it was like the debut or something, it was the launch, it was the expression, was the birth moment, right? The birth moment is going to dictate its trajectory that it will take. What was your vibrational state at the time that you released this thing? It will kind of dictate the networks that it will be aligned with, whether that's like an audience or its growth pattern or its lessons, right, that it will also go through. it's just like a natal chart. This creation is, you know, the cycles in which we'll move through. It is also the hit expansions or the contractions. Maybe it's where it will outgrow certain expressions, right? But what I was seeing with the quantum entanglement is that this thing continues to evolve as you do, right? So maybe your work continues to evolve as you also evolve. That was like a huge thing that was showing up in ceremony to me, where anything that we create in this system is going to continue to evolve as we continue to, right? So as the frameworks and how you view this existence also begin to shift, this thing that you create, right, that also becomes its own separate entity. Because even when you create a business, right, like an LLC or something, it actually ends up becoming its own separate entity, right? It also has its own birth time, it has everything. So it will always carry your specific energetic signature, but it will evolve beyond its original form, because you are also not now the same person as you were when you had created this thing. The thing about quantum entanglement that a lot of us don't really understand is that entanglement doesn't mean control, it means resonance, right? Entanglement simply means that we can release it, but we're also never disconnected from it. So while we think that the energy we send into the world, right, and the intentions that we send out are things that are now separate from us, right, that we've done long in the past, no, they're always orbiting our field, if you want to think about it this way, and kind of evolving with us, evolving sometimes beyond us. When you rise, this thing rises, you know. If you're wondering why, for example, a business is not doing well, if you're in a state of contraction, this thing is also going to contract. For example, if you begin to trust, it begins to expand. If you contract, then it may be something that appears like it's stalling, you know. So that's going to be clarification for someone as well. And releasing control is not abandoning it. That's where creators can also begin to stagnate in a lot of ways, or kind of get stuck, because they keep reaching back in. And it's not out of love, it's out of attachment, right? What we attach to, we fear to release, and we try to control and fear that it will fail without them, right? Without you constantly micromanaging or checking on this thing, or fear that it won't represent you correctly, or fear that it will grow beyond you, you know. And the truth is, over control collapses that resonance, right, when it comes to this cord, because now this cord will actually be made out of fear instead of love, and your role shifts from, you know, being a creator into actually just holding that frequency. You know, you become the field holder, and you don't chase it, you don't micromanage it. Instead, you embody the frequency that you wish for it to reflect. So with the college analogy, oh my god, we have 5% right now. This is like the lowest my camera battery's ever been. We're gonna finish off here, right? The college analogy is pretty much like, okay, you've brought this thing so far. It's a moment where the bags are packed and the child is about to embark on this next, you know, chapter of their journey. The door is open and the keys are kind of handed over, and you've done what it is that you can. And now you're stepping into a season where it's time to trust that this thing is about to be nourished, you know. It's knowing that you don't have to follow it to every class, you don't have to solve every challenge, you don't have to panic at every moment of silence. And paradoxically, this trust is also the very thing that allows it to succeed, because you're not just trusting in this thing, you're trusting in yourself, and then that is reflected in this thing. So yeah, quantum entanglement, that is your message for the day, okay? That is your message. So with that being said, I'm gonna go because this battery is about to die. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. Also check out Otter Spirit if you're looking for some high quality AAA grade jewelry. Small family owned business that handcraft these AAA grade gemstones. You have many to be able to choose from. You have 2 discount codes for that in the description box. $1 of the proceeds are donated towards otter sanctuaries. And until next time, bye. Don't care.